Indiana University is probably one of the worst schools in the United States, and it's so crazy because it's also the school with the most hype around it. People are paying Ivy League prices for a school with a 78% acceptance rate that locks you into one of the shittiest resume formats possible. I'm not going to talk too much about the resume format. That's a story for a different day, but let's talk about Indiana University, why it's so hyped right now, and why you shouldn't believe it at all. Indiana University is at the forefront of education in one aspect, and that's its workshop model, where basically it prepares you for a specific career, whether it's real estate, capital markets consulting, or investment banking. And because of that, they've got a really good track record of placing kids in some of the top firms across the United States. Unfortunately, it's for a really, really small handful of students, 80 per year out of a school of 45,000 students. That's less than 1% of 1% of people that go to Indiana University break into these top career fields. Everybody is now attending Indiana University, paying these Ivy League prices, expecting to get an Ivy League outcome, but it just doesn't happen. In fact, going to Indiana University can make sure you never land a job in investment banking, consulting, or high finance in general. Let me explain. So their workshop model, basically they take in 80 kids and they guarantee them a seat in investment banking. Because you go to Indiana University doesn't guarantee you a spot in the workshop. In fact, there's up to 2,000 kids competing for these 80 seats. And what they don't tell you is if you're an average person, you're only competing for 40 seats because 40 of those seats go to DEI, so girls and minorities. And then another maybe 10 to 15, even 20 of those next seats are going to go to people who were previously members of the program via their families. So maybe their brother or their sister was in the workshop. So your odds are about like 10 to 30 out of 2,000, which basically means your odds of breaking into the workshop are a hell of a lot lower than they are going to be to break into investment banking. The kids who were in the workshop, they were already going to be in investment banking because they were the top 0.4%. And it only takes, top 2% to break into bank. But that sounds bad. It gets way worse. Basically what happens, and they never tell you this, if you don't break into the workshop, if you're not the top 0.4%, you're not breaking into investment banking because the people who run all of the recruiting processes at the top banks, guess where they come from? That's right, the workshop. If you're not in the workshop, resume is immediately going in the trash because they think you're not competent and you're not capable as the kids in the workshop, and it's just not going to happen. So if you're considering Indiana University, I would 100% think twice about it. The outcomes that they're getting from that school are not distributed evenly across the 45,000 students. It's only 80 and really only 40 if you count the non-DEI students. There are much better, more affordable schools